The difference this week being the fact that we've got different cars for each class. And it's kind of in reverse order of speed in theory, because the Pro Cup guys, they'll be in the middle in the LMP3 car, while the Legends have the advantage in an LMP2. And then the Callaway C7 GT3, essentially a Corvette, is what the Sim Masters will be in.
Rubens, welcome back. Great to have you with us at the race again. Looking forward to Le Mans. You raced it a few weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I did race the 24 hours. Actually, we got lucky to get back into the race because of the problem initially, but they saw that we had nothing to do with the fact that we got caught up in a situation. So it was lovely to race back because we did practice for a couple of weeks, and it's nice to be back on this car with the Brazilian colors now.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you hoping for today? Do you have any particular rivals that you're keeping an eye out for in the Legends Trophy?
I love everyone, man. It's just nice to have everyone around, and I'll give my very best trying to win the race. Obviously, I try. I know a little bit of the tricks since I've been testing, for the 24 hours, and force feedbacks and things like this. The car is well set up. So actually, I just sent a message to Helio Castroneves just to tell him, because whenever you see someone struggling, they are so competitive is because they may have not tried the force feedback, because the car gives you a number and the steering wheel is so much heavier than normal. Then you got to drop it down and off you go.
Okay. Well, good luck for the race, Rubens. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Qualifying's on for the Legends. Montoya is who we jump on with first.
Yep, here is Juan Pablo Montoya. Then coming underneath the Dunlop Bridge and down the hill through the S's. And then out into Tête Rouge onto the Mulsanne Straight. There you can see Montoya really working pretty hard there, isn't he? As he comes out onto that back straight. And I feel like he's got a very reclined seating position, I feel, compared to some of the other drivers who sit fairly upright.
That feels like a new seating position for Montoya. We've seen him a few times, but now he seems like he's in a real single-seater slouch back sort of mode.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, actually. So, a bit of a shout for Montoya there as he makes a bit of an error, but he's still done a reasonable first sector, has Juan Pablo.
Something we've not considered, guys, just on that seating position point. Maybe this is actually Juan Pablo's, because if they both race in the next race, one of them's got to be in. Maybe Sebastian's not going to be involved, so Juan Pablo set things up a little more for him.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because I don't remember seeing Seb Montoya in race one in the Pro Cup. So I think you might be absolutely spot on there. I'm always surprised, Matt, how many sim rigs are really quite sit-up straighty. And even some of the drivers that are getting them now, I don't know, they're all in kind of a GT racing position, which really surprises me.
Yeah, and there's lots of different options out there. I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but obviously each company offers both either Formula or GT setups. The other thing I've noticed as well is seating position. David Brabham on screen right now, his arms are quite bent, 90 degrees. Whereas when we see, and I know that this can be misled by camera angle, but when we see someone like Jenson Button in previous weeks, he's almost reaching for the wheel. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think that is the difference between a sort of a Brabham, who is a kind of GT man, and Button, who is a single-seater man, as a very broad stroke.
It's true. The seating positions change so much from car to car, and I spent the most of my time driving a single-seater. But if I ever hopped into a
GT86
touring car, something like that, or a GT86. No, I normally had that back in single-seater position. But if I ever hopped in for a lap or two in a touring car or something, it feels so weird. You feel like you're like a bus driver sitting right up at the front of a really heavy, tall vehicle. But of course, for the likes of David Brabham, dog in the background, that might be distracting. Let's hope not for a man that's in championship contention. But for the likes of some of these older guys, even in Formula One, if you just take that, the seating position has changed so much over time to be more sort of slouched down, almost lying down in the car now, whereas they used to be sitting a lot more upright.
It's always funny when I get in a car with John Watson, whenever we're doing we pick up the hire car to do some GT race somewhere. And he is lying back in full F1 driver position, like driving this estate car on the road. It's rather funny, really. Here comes Montoya across the line. He goes second, 1.8 seconds slower than Rubinho. Rubens Barrichello on provisional pole position. Andy Priaulx slots into second, 1.4 seconds adrift. Here comes David Brabham through the final chicanes and out over the line. Brabham goes 7th, just ahead of Tony Kanaan. Petter Solberg 9th, Coronel 10th, Soper 11th, Castroneves and Dominguez the top 13. And I think we're seeing that inconsistency here with the Legends drivers. They're not this far apart on pace, I would suggest. But can they get it done over one lap? They don't quite have the consistency of the other drivers. Now, what's happened here with Alonso? Is he going to get a lap in?
No, unless he can blitz the field by a good 30 seconds, he's not going to be getting this in. So that's a curveball. And look, he's done the fastest first sector of anyone, but he's left the garage too late. He's not going to get round in a 2-minute 40 lap. So this is it. This is just a practice lap for Alonso. He'll be starting both races from the back.
I wonder if these drivers, because this is the first race where you have quite explicitly got only one lap in it, but quite a lot of time in it, if that makes sense. It's 6 minutes to do a 3.5-minute lap. Maybe, they're sort of not quite aware of the rules, and they're going out in a normal real life session. This would be fine for Alonso.
Yeah, but he's been racing with us for long enough to know the rules.
I think his teammate must have parked in the pit stall for too long or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Not to get controversial.
Well, let's have a look at a replay of Alonso. So has he already been out to try and set a lap and make a mistake? What's going on here?
That's a quick way through the second chicane.
Unless that was him on his out lap trying to cut the corners to get around as quickly as possible. So not sure what's happened here with Alonso, but I think he's going to be starting at the back of the grid.
Yeah, I think you're right. I bet you that was an out lap, because that looked absolutely deliberate to keep flat out and just desperate. He knew he was up against it.
Like Abu Dhabi 18.
Yeah, he's got previous, hasn't he, for cutting chicanes, and he's done it again.
Well, 30 seconds left on the clock. Don't think Alonso is going to get this lap in, and I think it will be Rubens Barrichello that will start on pole position for the Le Mans race here in the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones. Obviously, the YouTube chat is now going mad with he cut the chicken, but there we go. As Priaulx is coming through the middle sector, he's not going to get time to finish this lap either. So Barrichello on pole, Priaulx second, Montoya third, Servia fourth, Chanduk fifth, Jourdain sixth, Brabham, Kanaan, Solberg, Coronel, the rest of the top 10. And Dario Franchitti there, we see his car, the Big Machine Vodka entry, not racing, but he is watching. He's just sent me a picture of him watching on a nice big television, actually. So good evening, Dario. Sad you're not racing. Here's a look at how the grid will line up for the Legends Trophy. Rubens Barrichello on his return takes pole position. Andy Priaulx second on the grid. Karun Chandok starts in 5th spot. Michel Jourdain in 6th position. Brabham in 7th. Tony Kanaan in 8th position. Then we've got 9th for Petter Solberg, 10th for Tom Coronel, and Steve Soper is in 11th position ahead of Helio Castroneves, Mario Dominguez and Fernando Alonso. Maybe he just wants to do it from the back. Maybe he thinks that's, maybe he enjoys that. But of course that will be for both grids. So he's going to have his work cut out here if he wants to win this title. A reminder going into this race that it is Fernando Alonso, Juan Pablo Montoya at the top of the standings, 10 points clear of David Brabham, 16 points clear of Fernando Alonso. The Legends Trophy race at Le Mans begins now. Very, very slow start from whoever we're on board with there. I think it was Jourdain. Barrichello doesn't get away. Montoya and gets up into third ahead of Servia in second position. Chanduk now gets up into third spot, and Oriol Servia takes the lead. What a start from the Spaniard. Oh, Barrichello's hit him. Barrichello and Servia contact to the chicane, and Chanduk leads. Karun Chanduk out into first place. Servia is second, Montoya is third, Barrichello is all the way back into fourth place. Servia almost getting back ahead of Chanduk now. Andy Prio is in there, so Prio it was who made the bad start from the front row. Chanduk in front, there he is with the mural of Alan Prost up to his right-hand side, our left-hand side, and he's out in the lead, Karun.
And that's because Barrichello, it was an ambitious move on the inside of Servia. But then, I have to say, Rubens held such a lovely drift to not actually spin, as did Servia. And they're right back here, fighting with Karun, and Servia on the outside. Looks like he might just about do that. On the brakes for the first chicane, and round he goes, into the lead, Oriol Servia. Cut the corner, though.
On board here with Andy Prio. Juan Pablo, Fernando Alonso's up to sixth already, behind his title rival. And Prio pulling out to try and get ahead of Chanduk as they come down the Mulsanne straight, but as soon as he pulls out, he can't get it because Chanduk gets the slipstream from Servia. Prio gets out of shape. Barrichello's there in fourth. Alonso's going to try and make a move on Montoya for fifth position. The two championship leaders bang wheels. Montoya slides off, I think. He might be cutting the chicane. Chanduk's in second place still. Here's Andy Prio. And they all come back on together, and Alonso slots in behind Montoya. So he cut the chicane, but he slots back into sixth position. And we're only on lap one.
Yeah, there was Montoya moving across slightly in the braking zone, and they just had a slight contact. And there was Alonso that shot across the chicane, but he's back in there, sixth place again. And look, Barrichello now on the attack of Andy Prio. And this is going to get very, very spicy on this next straight. Really difficult to go too wide, and the slipstream effect again seems big. Servia is just edging away. Chanduk and now Barrichello passing Prio.
Oh, close your eyes here, because Barrichello's getting hit from behind, and Montoya's in the middle of a three-car pile-up. Rubens Barrichello is upside down. It's a huge accident for the Brazilian, and it is now Montoya trying to go to the outside of Alonso, but he outbrakes himself. He's going to end up in the gravel. We're on board further back with David Brabham now, who's trying to get past Alonso, who is up into third place behind Karun Chanduk in second, and Oriol Servia, and all of this continues to lead.
Yeah, Montoya there was going for a gap that was just, you said it was just scary. That tiny gap at these speeds wasn't really on, and then he darted to the other side. We're getting a replay of what surely was Alonso. A jump start from Alonso. It certainly moved before anyone else. Either no one else saw the lights, or Alonso was well ahead. He made a few places before anyone else had even moved. So that'll be interesting to have a look. But Jourdain had a really terrible start as well. So maybe there was an issue with people missing the lights, because that would be a strange mistake for Alonso to make. But yeah, he's got a break there, because 3-car wide into on that straight down towards Indianapolis, which was never going to happen.
Oof.
That was Jourdain then gone.
Yeah.
Bad start and then bam.
So Oriol Servia leading as we start lap 2. Karun Chanduk ahead of Fernando Alonso. They're side by side. Alonso gets on the curb. They're both round. Alonso and Chanduk collide. Alonso somehow manages to recover and doesn't lose too. He's still in third place. There's a reason they call him Teflon, so isn't there? Nothing sticks to him at all. Karun Chanduk has dropped down to 8th in all of that, but Alonso's still in third, just ahead of Petter Solberg, who was 5 seconds off the pace in qualifying.
And in all of it, David Brabham, the other title contender, who started, I think, down in 9th or 10th, is up into second place. The Le Mans legend is he's flying there up into second. Oriol Servia is now running away with this one, but yeah, Solberg's got Montoya just behind him though. We're looking at Alonso going away in the distance. Montoya is about to fly past.
So lap 2 of 3. Here is Montoya to the inside, onto the brakes. job done on Petter Solberg. And up into 4th position now, chasing down his title rival Alonso. Once again.
2nd, 3rd and 4th for the 3 title contenders now.
Yeah, absolutely. Brabham, Alonso and Montoya. Montoya's having to work hard to keep Petter Solberg behind. A little scratch of the head. Hopefully he hasn't broken his head, Montoya, as Solberg pulls alongside him down into the chicane. And Montoya holds on around the outside. Nicely done.
Scary one to turn in there with Solberg having a nose on the inside. Just waiting for Montoya to get turned around. But he needs to clear Petter Solberg and try and chase the next 2. But again, the slipstream effect is big. He's having to defend down towards the hairpin. Takes the inside line, and Solberg will do well to go all around the outside here. And he's a bit earlier on the brakes as well. Montoya's got that one sorted. And now he needs to try and get away. But bit of gravel there. That'll hamper Solberg's exit. But he's got another long straight now, a curved straight, to try and get back in that toe.
Lap 2 of 3. Brabham and Alonso, nose to tail. Alonso to the right-hand side of Brabham, uses almost the slingshot of the slipstream to get in front of the Australian, and he's up now into 2nd position. 2.6 seconds adrift, though, of Oriol Servia, which is going to be tough to get back on the last lap. Here's a look at the replay. Was this a jump start from Alonso? No, I don't think it was. Just a great one.
Yeah, many drivers just very slow away, and Alonso's reactions were good. He needed to, from the back, make up some places. Now he's up into 2nd place, 2.5 seconds behind Oriol Servia. A lap and a bit to go. It's a long lap, though.
Yeah.
How quick is Servia? Can he stay ahead of Alonso, who's been so fast since he joined the series?
Oriol Servia, I don't think has won a race in the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones in this Triple Crown element that we're in at the moment. He didn't take part in Monaco, finished 5th in Indianapolis last time out, but now the IndyCar racer had a couple of years in Formula E, took a pole position in Putrajaya, Malaysia in Formula E, I think in season 2 for the Dragon team, did Oriol Servia, and he's always got his fire on, hasn't he? Which I presume it's not real, because that feels unnecessary.
It doesn't look real.
And has he got racing on the TV behind him? Or is that just, that's just the reflection of his monitor, isn't it, above the fire? You see what I mean?
No, I think that looks like an aesthetic fire, but lovely aesthetics.
No, lovely aesthetic. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think he's gonna have to work really hard to win this, because Alonso's flying. 2.5 seconds in a quarter of a lap is now 7/10, and Alonso's gonna have the slipstream down the Mulsanne straight, which we're at now. Servia's driven great. The gap to Brabham is now 4 seconds. He's cleared away from everyone, but Fernando Alonso's on another planet here.
Certainly is. Servia in front. Steve Soper's been given a penalty. Chandok is out of the race now as they come down the Mulsanne again. Through the right and the left. Alonso's going to be right in there. Servia's going to be starting to feel the pressure from his compatriot. Down towards... Here's a look at the slipstream. Alonso closing in. And this is going to be the move for the lead. Fernando Alonso hits the front. Onto the brakes. Into the left and the right. And Alonso is through. Servia will try and stay with him. Alonso goes... He just carries so much speed through there. I thought for all the world he was going wide and onto the grass, but he still is there on the apex on the exit.
Quick, isn't he? He's just quick. He's started that corner from the inside, and I think he still went through there quicker than Servia. And that's no disrespect to Oriol Servia, who is really holding his own, or even quicker than those behind. But Alonso is just on another level right now. Absolutely happy with the car, dancing on the edge. And he's taken 2.5 seconds of gap past Oriol Servia and gone in 3/4 of a lap then.
Oh, and that's what took Chandok out of the race. A crash. On board with Oriol Servia. He's going to get the slipstream though one more time. Down towards the kink at Mulsanne. And then into... But he's not going to be able to apologies, they're up at Indianapolis now, and he's not going to be able to get the move done, is he, Servia? Even on this final lap, he's super close. but Alonso surely is going to hold on and take this win. A big smile on the face of Servia. Just 0.4 of a second between them, though, on this final lap. It's not totally over, but Alonso's going to be, I'd be surprised if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, it's an absolutely superb effort from Servia to try and come back at Alonso here with the help from the slipstream, but he just wasn't quite close enough to make the lunge, and now Alonso's broken clear again. He's going to take a win from the back.
So Fernando Alonso down towards the final 2 chicanes for the final time in this first race. We've got an endurance race coming up a little bit later on, but Fernando Alonso comes out and for the 3rd time in his career wins at Le Mans. Takes the win, pushes himself back up into championship contention, and Servia in 2nd, Brabham in 3rd. Is Montoya in the pits?
I think he's got a penalty, has he?
Oh yeah, maybe it was a penalty, but why is he suddenly... Well, I don't know what has happened there to Juan Pablo Montoya right at the end. Maybe a drive-through penalty that he had to serve, and here's Jourdain and Steve Soper banging wheels like the early 90s there for Soper, and Jourdain comes across the line in front in 7th position, Soper in 8th. Tony Kanaan is going to finish in 8th position across the line. Prio will be a bit frustrated because he qualified well but only finished in 6th place.
He was involved in that big crash with Montoya and in that Chandok group on lap 1, wasn't he, Andy Prio?
Yeah.
So his pace was good, but well, he's got another race to try and make amends in the longer, big 60-car race. I'm excited for this.
It's going to be super cool, isn't it? There was Tony Kanaan chasing down Prio at the end there. Tom Coronel.
What are those the pros and the sim drivers going to do if there's a big pile up, as there was in this race, on that narrow stretch down towards Indianapolis? I mean, this could be bedlam.
Yeah, like, especially because the pros are going to, the legends are going to be at the front of the order, and the other they should have the pace to stay there, but will they have the racecraft, I suppose?
Well, and I was going to say the other thing is that you could, in theory, do a rolling start, spread them out, and have each class have enough gap between them, as some real classes do and some real races do, and certainly the NES, which was back on today, the Nürburgring Endurance Series. But they're doing a standing start, everyone's together, and that might actually be better because we've had some crashes to the line, but it's going to bunch them up exactly that, which is pretty insane. You know what else is insane? The fact that Alonso just started 14th and came all the way through to win the race. Pretty remarkable statement, I have to say, Jack.
Yeah, let's speak to him now, shall we? The winner of the first Legends Trophy race at Indianapolis, at Le Mans. Fernando, congratulations. What happened in qualifying, first of all? Why were you 14th on the grid?
Yeah, I made a mistake in one of the corners at the beginning of the lap. And then I saw that I didn't have time to complete the second time lap. So I tried to do one lap, just cutting everywhere, tried to make it on time for the second flying lap, but it was not even time. So, yeah, unfortunately, starting at the back, but yeah, is what it is.
Yeah, well, it was what you was, and you won the race. So how was it carving through the field? Some good fights.
Yeah, it's always difficult. I think on this weekend, there is a little bit of a speed difference between the guys. Some of us, we did the 24-hour virtual, so we have a little bit in hand the car and the balance and the speed. So yeah, sometimes too many contacts, unwanted contacts, because the difference in the speed or the things that you get, you maybe get surprised of the movements. But you know, lucky with some of the incidents that I could continue all the time, and let's see now in the final race, hopefully with 40 minutes, we can play a little bit safer and a little bit nicer.
Okay, cool. Well, best of luck. Thanks for talking to us.
See you guys.
Juan Pablo, the race started well. You were up there towards the front. What happened?
Well, they told us we could cut the track twice in the 3 laps, and I did, and they gave me a penalty. It said, I don't know. It's kind of weird because Fernando went off like 10 times and he was okay. So I went wide in the first lap, and in the last, so I went a little wide. And I said, it's fine, it's going to be the second cut, and he gave me a drive-through penalty. So I don't know, kind of not disappointed to be honest, because you spend a lot of time on it and work hard on it to make sure you're competitive, and they tell you one thing and something else happens. So pretty pissed off, to be honest.
Yeah, very frustrating. At least there's double points in the next race, and you've got good pace, so plenty to fight for.
Yeah. The pace is okay. It's just a lot of luck involved. I got outside of Rubens, and he tried to block, and we got together. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Okay. Well, good luck for race 2. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Nikodem Wisniewski's going to start on pole. Haniajowski alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then we've got Marocek in 5th. Von der Heide in 6th position. Risto Kappert and Dennis Jordan behind them. Mohamed Patel completes the top 10. So he's not totally out of the running, Patel, but he's got a long way to climb up the order. In the Pro Cup class, it's Dillman on pole, Rowland in 2nd. And those two, if they can take the win ahead of Canapino, have a shot at winning the title. If Rowland wins the race, he wins the championship. If Canapino wins it, he wins it. Dillman needs to win it and hope that Canapino is not in 2nd position. Johnny Adam there will start in 9th place. James Pull in 10th. Martin Plowman in 12th. And then in the Legends Trophy, at the front of the grid overall, it's going to be Rubens Barrichello alongside Andy Prio, who started poorly, having qualified well in the last race. Karun Chanduk led briefly previously. David Brabham is a competitor, the Australian-Italian who starts in 7th spot. Castro Neves down in 12th, but once again, Alonso is going to have to come from the back of the order. The grand finale of the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones at Le Mans, begins now. It's a really good start from Rubens Barrichello. Look at this huge grid of cars, and already there's 2 in the wall, and I think that might even be Dillman. I think that might be Tom Dillman who's taken a hit, and Canapino has got up into the lead. Rowland is 2nd. Barrichello's out in front. Nikodem Wisniewski leads in the Legends in the Sim Masters class, but Barrichello out in front. Castro Neves has gone 2nd, but he's received a penalty. Siebel is involved in all sorts of chaos in the middle of the pack. There's spinners everywhere, and it's Marocek who's leading. Bradley Smith, Rowland and Ingram are side by side. Canapino now is down to 5th position. So in the Legends Trophy in LMP2, it is Barrichello, Chanduk, Coronel, Servia, Prio, the top 5. In the Pro Cup, it is Bradley Smith ahead of Jaeger Fay, then Rowland and Canapino, and then in the Sim Masters, it's Marocek, Hoyer, Epps and Jordan. So it's chaos in Sim Masters land. Rowland is up into 2nd place, so as it stands, Ollie Rowland would win the championship in the Pro Cup, but 44 minutes to go.
Wow. So much happened there. Montoya there getting into Andy Prio down at the first chicane, and then David Brabham caught up in that. Oh dear. That's one of our Legends Championship challengers caught up in an accident not of his doing. But shame for Brabham. Montoya was the man that made the pass on Prio. But what absolute chaos. Ollie Rowland was in 2nd. Dillman's obviously the big loser in the Pro Cup. He was in the wall within 2nd. Canapino came through, but Canapino's now dropped out of the top 5 as well.
And Alonso is out. Fernando Alonso is out of the race. The car too badly damaged at the start. He is out. So that means it'll be, well, if they can get to the end, Brabham or Montoya to win the championship in the Legends Trophy. There you see Alonso straight on his phone. Servia and Coronel are going side by side. Coronel takes out a few bollards, and Montoya now is going to get up into 3rd place, or is he? He bangs doors with Tom Coronel. Montoya up into 4th position. So as it stands, he would win the championship there. Rowland would win the championship in the Pro Cup. And as for the Legends, and as for the Sims, I guess it would be Yuri Kasdorp at the moment, but we'll wait and see how Kasdorp is getting on a little bit later. Wow.
I think one accident might have taken out 2 contenders in different classes. Steve Soper, I think, was the one that was involved off the start that may have gotten Alonso and Dillman, who were 14th and 15th in the overall grid, respectively.
Well, here's a look at the replay. On board with Alonso, then. Here he comes in towards the start of the race. Oh, goodness me. Alonso absolutely wiped out there. So do we think that was Soper in the white car that came across?
I think it may. I'm trying to figure out who it was, because Soper's got the BMW livery, so the blue and white, I'll have to take a peek at who that may have been.
Presumably there was someone on his inside though, and that's the reason he came across. So 60 cars starting this race, and Fernando Alonso was staying wide on the outside, but yeah, it just took a big hit. The damage is 25% for the Legends, but obviously still enough contact that he just couldn't return. It's Helio Castroneves, is it? Who's had a good start up the inside. He's been tipped by Jourdain. And that's what it is. It's Jourdain just snagged the back of Castroneves. Oh, Helio. Oh, dear.
Castroneves piled across, and that's when he then wiped out another couple of cars. That's why he was suddenly in the lead for a moment. But it's now Rubens Barrichello in the lead. We're watching Michael Benyahir and James Pull fighting. Bradley Smith and Oliver Rowland are right together for the lead of the Pro Cup class. And Mike Epps has now got in front as Benyahir sends James Pull spinning. But Mike Epps is now leading in the Sim Masters. Some more spins. Bijtskevitsa going across the circuit there. Benyahir still running in 11th place. So, wow.
This is the problem for the Sim Masters, guys. There's every other corner, there's an obstacle in the middle of the track. And Mike Epps, where's he come from? And on the grid, he was about 15th or 16th, wasn't he? He's now leading the race. All of our front runners from that earlier race.
Kasdorp 5th.
Yeah, Kasdorp is 5th. That's critical, but the rest of them have gone. So it's incredible how this race is unfolding. Canapino's not there in the Pro Cup. That's handing it to Ollie Rowland right now, who doesn't need to get involved with Bradley Smith, but I'm sure will go for the win. He's still got 40 minutes to try and get this done. But yeah, Alonso, he wanted to just take his time in this race. He just spoke to you, Jack, and just said, I don't need to go for anything. No silly contact. Unlucky. It was not his fault at all. It was Jourdain and Castroneves having a tap, and Fernando's caught out. But it's happening to everyone out there.
So Canapino is now in 7th place, the Argentinian championship leader in the Pro Cup. He is racing in the LMP3. He's in 7th position behind Ross Gunn in 6th. Now, he's quite a way behind Oliver Rowland. Well, I say quite a way, 4 seconds or so behind Ollie Rowland, who's in 2nd place, maybe even in the lead before too long, because he's right in the slipstream of Bradley Smith. But I would not be surprised if Rowland is just easing off the throttle on the back straights and sitting in behind Smith for the time being. Here's Arthur Rougier in 5th position, just behind the man we're on board with now, Tom Ingram, who's in 4th spot. Barrichello's lead up at the front is 5.6 seconds over Karun Chandhok in 2nd, with Juan Pablo Montoya and Oriol Servia side by side for 3rd position. Tom Ingram is trying to lose the slipstream of the cars behind, and this is Jourdain, who we're on board with. Oh, there's a bit of contact in front. I think who was that flying into the wall? Not 100% sure, but Jourdain is making his way past some of the LMP3 cars now.
Yeah, someone looked like they had a brake failure down at the Mulsanne hairpin, just straight on, not slowing down. Again, don't know who it was, but that'll be a big crash and someone presumably out of the race. Jourdain taking advantage, but yeah, he's in amongst the LMP3 guys as well. There's legends amongst the LMP3s, and the difference in pace is going to be very difficult to negotiate.
There is Arthur Rougier in the bottom left, running in 5th place behind Ross Gunn, who qualified well and is currently going great. Ross in 4th position. Rougier and Canapino in 5th and 6th. But it is the top 2 of Smith and Rowland who have pulled out really a decent lead. Yeah, Yaffe is running in behind. Here's a look at a replay of Mike Epps then. This is how he took the lead of the class. They were fighting here with an LMP3 car, I want to say. Epps is behind Marocek down the Mulsanne straight, pulls to the inside of Michi Hoyer, and is he going to take 2 in 1? That's a risky one. Epps has done it. What a lovely move that was, coming down into Mulsanne corner.
Just enough space, and he made it stick. Really neat on the brakes. Lovely move. But you just saw there, I think that was Jourdain flying past in an LMP1. That's the difference in straight line speed that the legends have got. And that's where there's a propensity for chaos. Having said that, I think though the legends in their LMP2 cars have got ahead, but Castroneves, they're spinning out. He's going to be rejoining amongst the melee.
Yeah, so Castroneves in the wall. We're on board in the top right with Michi Hoyer, who's running in 4th place. Kasdorp now has got up into 3rd spot then. So this is a really good run from Yuri Kasdorp. He's now going to be trying to close in on Peo Pev and Mike Epps, who, quite frankly, I don't think are going to have the pace compared to Kasdorp, because Pev was battling Liam Duval for 20 millionth position earlier on in race 1, and Kasdorp now has got past him and up into second place, 2.3 seconds back from Mike Epps, and he sets the fastest lap of the race in the meantime. The class leaders, Barrichello, Smith and Epps, 37 minutes to go in this one. Matt Trivett, what have you made of the opening 10 minutes?
So far, I mean, again, aside from the start chaos, fairly straightforward. Just a curious note, though, that I've kind of just been looking into is obviously the LMP3s don't run in the 24-hour Le Mans. It's LMP1 and LMP2. They don't have a whole lot of power. They've got 420 at the top of their RPM range and only 186 in the straight. So being lower powered than the GT3 cars, they've got better braking. They're faster through the corners, but the GT3s are faster down the straight, and therefore we're seeing some of the sim guys keeping up at the back end of that field, which definitely could get interesting as the battles start to ensue a little bit later on or mistakes are made.
Here's Juan Pablo Montoya running in 4th place. He's just behind Oriol Servia, and then subsequently he's just behind Karun Chandok as they make their way down the Mulsanne. Karun Chandok, the most recent guest on the Race Esports podcast, which you can download from any good podcasting place. And he was very interesting on it, actually, which, you know, I suppose is always the case with Karun.
Give us a teaser. Give us a teaser.
Well, you know, he does his circuit design stuff. Well, now he designs circuits. He's part of the sort of FIA Circuit Design Commission. He's built a few in Asia. There's some being built in India now. And while he's designing these circuits, he can then get the designers, to email it to him. He then has a little bit of a drive on it at home and is like, actually, we thought turn 4 would be good. It's rubbish. Let's change it to this. And they can do it in a couple of days, and then he tries it again, and it speeds up that whole process. So how's that for a little teaser?
Cool. I had that, you know, with at Snetterton.
Did you design the 300?
I knew the designer, and I helped driving it on a simulator. Yeah.
What did you? Is there anything tangible that you did at Snetterton that you can say, actually, that was me?
I approved it. There was a couple of
seal of approval.
I mean that means he essentially did everything. I mean, if he approved it, he gets the final word.
Yeah, but if you've ever gone from Hamilton into Oggies, you'll know that's a tricky braking zone. Oggies was originally designed to be a much wider corner. Now it's just a little sharp right-hander. You know.
Bit of camber. Is there a bit of a camber?
It's quite flat, to be honest, but it opens up. There's a sort of second curve on the exit, and that's where you open up. Just excites you to get on the throttle, but actually can be punishing if you drop a wheel.
This might be a new challenge for the commentary race, Jack. If Palmer's such a pro at designing tracks, I mean, Sim, you could essentially design anything as a custom track. Maybe we get him to make us one.
Can we do if we do the commentators race on the Snetterton 300? You'd be worried. I've got
a race later this year on the Snetterton 300 in the TC UK Championship, the Touring Car UK Championship. So I'll be asking for advice. Is Palmer's on the Snetterton 300 circuit named after you then?
No.
Oh.
Named after the circuit designer.
Ah, I know the circuit designer. 33 minutes to go. We've taken a fairly large sidetrack. Apologies, but we have the time to, and this is just getting me and Palmer in the zone for free practice 1 next week, as we have Yafei running in 5th place ahead of Agustin Canapino. Rubens Barrichello is leading the way. Mike Epps has just set the fastest lap of the race. Peo Pev is still holding 2nd place ahead of Yuri Kasdorp in the Sim Masters, but that's still enough for Kasdorp to wrap up the title. Rowland in 2nd in the Pro Cup is still enough for him to wrap up the title. And at the moment, Montoya in 4th is enough for him to wrap up the title in the Legends Trophy. As we're on board with Yuri Kasdorp, seeing all those cars in front of him, in particular Peo Pev, the Bulgarian, right in front.
So Kasdorp really just needs to avoid getting in trouble here, because he's without any incident, he's going to be the champion. No one can win the Triple Crown, so it's just about being the champion. And he's got the pace, clearly, but still sitting in behind Peo Pev. Mike Epps 2 seconds up the road, doing a really good job in this race. And looking down, we've got Patel in 13th, and Duval in 14th. So those two are the other people that would win if Kazdorp slipped up, and that was exactly the sort of thing that could have been bad, but he got away with it.
So who is that?
There's a lunatic in an LMP3.
I don't know who that is, but Kazdorp then has just about evaded all of that carnage, and he's up into second place ahead of Peo Pev. Epps still in the lead. Here is Canapino, still running in 5th place then. He's ahead of Yefei, but he's got to get past Gunn, Rougier, Rowland and Smith if he wants to win the title. Half an hour to go, but that gap from Rougier to Rowland is pretty big now, 3 seconds or so.
Barrichello is absolutely smashing this, isn't he? 10 seconds up the road from Karun Chandok. Chandok's actually doing a really good job. There's only a second time in the series.
Yeah.
The first was on an oval, and he's doing really well with a nice group just behind him. Servia, Montoya and Prio. Ah, here we go. It's Archie Hamilton was the lunatic down the back straight.
So that's what happened with Archie Hamilton, as he cruised past them and then had contact with Peo Pev. Very sloppy, really.
Yeah. That reminds me very much of Maxime Vinifier versus, I think it was James Collado, or it was the Rizzi Competizione Ferrari in 2018.
And less lunatic as well there. It's a mistake that, yeah, you're talking about the
Pierre
one
Caffer,
down
I think it was, actually. That's right.
Hairpin.
Yeah, it was Pierre Caffer that was taken out. That's exactly right. Yeah, it was pretty catastrophic. Essentially underestimated the braking speed of the GT-E as it was in that case.
Yeah, you can have big accidents like that, and yeah, that was actually Hamilton there. Didn't do a lot wrong, to be honest. Was just coming through with a bigger straight line speed, but just got a little nudge from Peo Pev, who misjudged the speed, and that's why he couldn't turn into the corner. When we were on board with Kazdorp, it looked like he just straight lined it Alonso style.
Amusing comment from Kevin Ryan, who I presume is I presume it's not the one that was in the Sim Masters, but he says Peo will be peeved. Anyway, Montoya and Servia are together, and Montoya is off in the gravel, down in 4th position. How many places is he going to lose? None. Gets away with that one. Andy Prio joins the back of him quite quickly, but I think that Montoya is still in position to win the Legends Trophy, just about. That was a very, very tight one. It depends where Brabham is, actually. Haven't seen where David Brabham is recently, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But Montoya should be in a position to win it at the moment. In 4th place, this is what happened.
So, tucked in behind Oriol Servia, we're coming up to the 2nd chicane. And, that was too ambitious there, I think, from Juan Pablo. That gap was closing, and he was a bit far back, I think. And that's a risk he doesn't need to be taking with his position. I don't know if he knows Alonso's out of the race and not breathing down his neck at some point, but he's got this in the bag if he can finish where he is, but he doesn't need those that level of contact.
So Montoya, post-race penalties can be applied. I mean, I guess the fact that Servia held that position means that there's not a huge amount to kind of punish Montoya for. No real effect. But then we'll get bogged down in a stewarding discussion and whether the outcome of an incident should be included in the penalty. But anyway, here comes Andy Prio on the back of Montoya. Montoya holds that 4th place for the time being. 28 minutes left on the clock. Barrichello's lead is up to 11.5 seconds. He is bossing it today.
He's another man that was dialed in. Alonso's teammate, wasn't he, in the Le Mans Virtual 24 a couple of weeks ago. And look, inset, Ollie Rowland passing Bradley Smith there for the lead in the LMP3, the Pro Cup category. So Rowland has just been sitting in behind Smith for best part of 20 minutes. Finally, on the Mulsanne hairpin, makes it stick. So Rowland into the lead, looking very good. Canapino still 4th and not all that far away.
This will feel like, Montoya squeezing Prio towards the wall. It's like Schumacher Barrichello Hungaroring, and Prio is not going to hold on to that one for the moment. Montoya into 4th position then. Prio will get good drive out of the chicane, but not enough to make a move on Montoya. Rowland was doing in the Le Mans virtual race. They were doing 3-hour stints in these, so a 40-minute stint for Oliver Rowland won't feel too bad at all, I wouldn't have thought. And he's now hit the front in the Pro Cup. Yuri Kasdorp still second, just in front of Peo Pev, which will be enough to wrap up the championship for him in the Sim Masters. And in the Legends Trophy, Montoya in fourth, still will have him taking the win. Here was Kasdorp, going back up past ahead of Pev then. So those two have been swapping places a little bit, and Kasdorp in second place.
Pev must have got back ahead of Kasdorp then after that Archie Hamilton moment, but short-lived. Still running 3/10 apart. Pretty much nose to tail, Kasdorp and Pev. 2.7 seconds away from Mike Epps, who's just marching away still. I'm surprised Kasdorp's not closed that gap since he got into second place. Still 26 minutes left on the clock, but Epps doing a cracking job.
One thing to consider that we haven't really discussed in what was the sprint race is because they were 3 laps and you've got a long straightaway to let the tires settle. But now that we're into a 45-minute race, some of these gaps might change at the end. We know tires have been a factor in every other week, so I kind of expect they will be late in this race as well.
Yeah, I think that's very true. It's not it's a demanding track on tires, but like you say, there's a lot of straights to get the temperature back down a little bit, and even the corners on the straights are chicanes. But I think that is going to be impactful towards the. I want to know who's Montoya's talking to, because he's always chatting to someone, isn't he? But can't see anyone in the room. Seb Montoya, you say, Matt, is on his way to start Formula 4. So who's Juan Pablo talking to? Like Tom Coronel there, he's got a headset on, so he can at least pretend to be talking to someone as Tony Kanaan tries to overtake him. But Juan Pablo just seems to be in an empty room having a chat. Here comes Tony Kanaan to the inside, a man who, great to see him still racing after his real racing got underway a few weeks ago, as he competed in that great 7-Eleven livery in IndyCar. Gabby Chavez up in the top right is trying to make his way through some of the Sim Masters drivers, isn't he? So Chavez, who's been a little quiet, I would say, in this second or this third season of the Race All-Star Series, but yeah, a little bit quiet in this one. 15th at the moment, fighting with some of the GTE cars. Plowman and Benya here fighting over 12th and 13th position. James Headley's been given a penalty for some reason. Rowland's lead now to 1.6 seconds. And Kasdorp is just 4/10 behind Epps. So Epps may have made a mistake, but because Kasdorp, Pev, round goes Plowman and hits Benya here, but Kasdorp, Pev and Yayovsky have all joined Mike Epps pretty instantly, really, in the battle for the lead in the Sim Masters. Barrichello's lead is 13 seconds.
So that's going to get very interesting. Just 2/10 in it. Epps is right under pressure for the lead in the Sim Masters, as you say. Busy watching Gabby Chavez very clearly bump draft someone down the Mulsanne straight, but I'm sure that'll be investigated afterwards. He's only in 12th place in the Pro Cup, so without any championship hopes either, not a lot at stake.
Here comes Kasdorp. He was coming past Mike Epps. We're getting a replay of what happened here with Martin Plowman, but I'm fairly sure, that was a late one for Plowman. Then he gets out wide on the gravel and wipes out Benya here, but I'm fairly sure we're going to have a change for the lead here in the GT3 class. Yes, Yuri Kasdorp has got in front. There's the zoom call of all the drivers on the left-hand side that are competing out here today. Nikodem Biznevsky in there, Tom Coronel you see in there, but here's Kasdorp, and well, they're in a fight with some of they're right in the mix of some of the Pro Cup cars. So that's probably where Mike Epps lost all that time, effectively in traffic, potentially.
Yeah, this is really difficult situation now for Epps and Kasdorp. Neck and neck for the lead in their own race. They've got Peo Pev and Erhan Yayovsky just behind as well. Look at this train of mixed cars in different categories. They've got to find their way through. This is classic Le Mans.
Still 22 minutes to go. There's Rubens Barrichello in the bottom left, 13 seconds clear of anyone else. A dominant drive this from Rubens Barrichello. We're on board with Erhan Yayovsky in 4th place. Peo Pev just in front. There's Pro Cup cars in the gravel and rejoining all over the place. Yayovsky gets a hit. Yayovsky has a collision with someone that was trying to rejoin. Didn't quite see who it was. There is Barrichello in the main picture, comfortably leading the way, but Yayovsky now has dropped away from that top 3 because of that contact.
Barrichello's going to have to lap most of these guys. He's had just a very quiet race, and now he's grinning in the bottom left. But he's going to have an entire field to work his way through now. Luckily, he's not under any big pressure. But Yayovsky then caught up in that moment, and there's going to be a lot of this now for these Sim Masters, particularly amongst the Pro Cup guys.
That was Lucas Blakely that Barrichello was just making his way past. On board again with Erhan Yayovsky in 4th position now. He's dropped a little bit away from the Pev Epps Kasdorp battle up in front. It looks as though that battle has calmed down a tiny bit. They're right nose to tail coming into the chicanes, but there's less traffic around at the moment. And here's a look at a replay then. And it was Archie Hamilton again, rejoining he hit the wall. I mean, it wasn't a horrific rejoin, but it wasn't strong.
He's been off quite a lot, hasn't he, Archie Hamilton? Yeah. And yeah, rejoining. I mean, he didn't exactly swarm across the track, but it's very difficult when you've got a lot of cars coming through to come on safely, to be honest. Another car dropping wide on the exit of turn 2 there, but that was none of our main contenders. So still pretty close to Yayovsky. He didn't actually lose too much, just a 1.5 seconds back from Peo Pev.
Barrichello's lead, still 11.4 seconds over Karun Chanduk in 2nd place. Oriol Servia 3rd, Andy Prio 4th, Juan Pablo Montoya in 5th position as it stands, which should be enough to give Juan Pablo Montoya the championship win in the Legends Trophy. We're on board with Michi Hoyer up in the top right as he tries to make progress, but Epps here is under big pressure from Yuri Kasdorp. You've got the LMP car in the middle there. I think it's Daniel Rowbottom, who we're on board with here, who is in the middle of that fight, and surprisingly a bit slower through the chicane than the GT cars in front of him. And it is Peo Pev that is kind of stuck behind him as we come through there. So Epps and Kasdorp now nose to tail. This is where Kasdorp's got to just keep out of trouble. Finishing 2nd, and he still wins. And we're on board with him now, coming down the Mulsanne. And I think he'll be lifting at this point, just sitting in behind Mike Epps and not too keen to get involved in too hard a fight.
No, and that bit of traffic there really helped them to just break a second clear of Peo Pev, who got stuck behind Rowbottom at the first chicane. Makes a huge difference. It's all about being really clinical through the traffic. And look, Rowbottom's still there ahead of Pev, so really frustrating for the Bulgarian. But Kasdorp, you're right, he's just blending out, I think, rather than attacking Epps particularly. He's happy just to sit in 2nd for the moment.
So, Matt, what's this going to do to the championship? We've got 19 minutes to go. A lot can change, but what are we looking at right now?
Yeah, provisionally just looking at it, I mean, the Sim Championship meet seems the most obvious at this point. The championship leader, Kasdorp, sitting in 2nd place, and Patel being just behind him in the championship by 10 points is way down in 13th. So that one doesn't need tracking. It's a little bit closer in what we're, the Pro Championship of the LMP cars, because Agustin Canapino was obviously now up into 3rd. That closes it down. It was a gap of 11 points between Ollie Rowland in 2nd in the championship and it was a gap of a 20-point lead or gain by Ollie Rowland, which obviously would have put him in the lead. That's now closed a further 8 points, which means it's 12 points. At this point, Ollie Rowland only would have a 1-point lead if they finished as they were. So that one's getting extremely tight. Meanwhile, in the LMP2s, the Legends category, Priu's ahead of Montoya. That only gets him 4 points in what is a gap, excuse me if I just bring it up, of about 20 points. So he's not going to be anywhere near that. But Montoya needs to not take chances. You guys said it. The man who's ahead of him, David Brabham, last I checked was down in 9th, and that's quite a gap. So Montoya, if he stays where he is, has the championship wrapped up.
Okay, so just to clarify that in the Pro Cup quickly. So Rowland, by my calculations, if Rowland wins, he wins the championship full stop, right? He wins
Correct.
By like 1 point.
If he wins and Canapino finishes in 2nd place, it would be a 12-point difference. Right now, it's 20 points. So yes, he still has the lead comfortably. But watch Canapino, because he's on the move, and that could put pressure on things with 19 to go.
Absolutely, and we're getting a bit of traffic now for some of the LMP cars. Montoya and Prio going around, might have been Adam Maguire in one of the GPVWC machines. 17 minutes left on the clock. Yuri Kasdorp still leading in the Sim Masters. Montoya bouncing through the chicanes, and they're getting up to a big, long group now of the GTE cars. So Prio goes through, just trying to see who it is that Montoya is kind of putting moves on now. I think it's going to be the sort of, oh, that's David Greco then. So he's now up into the sort of top 15 of the GT3 cars. My apologies for saying GTE there. The GT3 cars, and yeah, that is where Montoya and Andy Prio are right now, and you can see how much time Prio has gained, just getting through that traffic a little smoother. Oh!
Yeah, Montoya almost lost it exit of turn 2, and he almost lost it again before Tetra Rouge. I mean, he's had 2 huge escapes there, Juan Pablo Montoya, the man that is looking to be champion, but really working to pass these guys and then stick with Andy Prio as well. They've got so many more cars to pass though. They're 15th of the GT3s. They've got most of them still to go, and then the lot of the LMP3s if they're quick enough.
So Kasdorp has hit the front now in GT3. Epps is right behind him. Now, is he blending out of it as well? I think he is, just sitting in behind Yuri Kasdorp as they come down the Mulsanne straight. And here's Canapino then in second place. So Canapino has got past Rougier and up into second position. Now, as it stands, Ollie Rowland would win the Pro Cup by 1 point. So can Canapino close in 3.5 seconds in 15 minutes? That's going to be the big question. Or will he make a mistake? Any mistake from Rowland and Canapino wins the championship.
This is huge, and Canapino, that gap has come down. It was nearer 5 seconds, now it's nearer 3. In a while, Rowland's still going quickly, consistently, but then the traffic, they might have to deal with some traffic as well. And there's a lot of pressure now for Rowland with Canapino in second. He's got probably the quickest man and the man that can beat him in the championship just behind. So Rowland cannot afford to make a mistake.
And the question as well is, Rowland started on pole and has been sprinting away, but hasn't had to work hard for track position, whereas Canapino started 5th. So who's actually used more tires, the man running or the man that's had to battle for position?
It's a good point. Montoya, when we went on board with him for the last lap, had 2 lurid oversteers, and I wonder if that was rear tyre. Look at this. That was the first one out of the chicane. Then he had another one before Tetra Rouge. And that's maybe because he's smoked a bit of the rear tyres already. There's still 14 minutes to go. And look, Rowland's just got to try and measure that with Canapino behind, who's been really quick for just a lot of weeks now. He's been very consistent, Canapino.
Is this the other one?
He got really wide there, didn't he, on the left, and then had a bit more turning to do on the right, and then he just hit the bollard as well and glanced off the wall, kept it together. But yeah, Montoya a bit scrappy there, and that might be the first sign we see of tyre wear.
So what have we got going on here? We've got Petter Solberg in this race, right up behind Tom Coronel. They're battling over 7th and 8th positions at the moment with 13.5 minutes to go. Having a nice little fight there, Coronel and Solberg. Epps is in second place still, behind Yuri Kasdorp. And I think a shout out to Mike Epps. He was a Pro Cup racer, but he was so good that we put him in with the Sim Masters, and now he's running right at the front of that field as well. So hugely impressive stuff from Mike Epps. Petter Solberg in the main screen, as you look at it, is making his way up the order, getting ahead of one of the Sim Masters cars in the Corvette GT3s. 13 minutes left on the clock as Solberg comes across the line, just under a second away from Tom Coronel. And Barrichello's lead is pretty much stabilized at 11 seconds or so. Karun Chanduk in second, Oriol Servia in third, as we are in the grand finale of the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. We've had 15 weeks of action, but real racing getting back underway properly. Well, Formula One in particular next week, so keep your eye on the-race.com, and we are the race on social media for all the latest from the real world of Formula One racing next weekend. And also we'll have more virtual racing coming up for you later in the year, but just not quite as regular as we have been in the lockdown period. 12 minutes left on the clock. Also the race for all your esports news from the championships that will continue to run even when real racing returns, like GPVWC and the VEC and all of those kind of things. 12 minutes left on the clock. Barrichello leading, 12 seconds ahead of Karun Chandok. Oliver Rowland is leading the Pro Cup class, and at the moment still has a 3-second lead over Agustin Canapino, so things are looking fairly peachy for Rowland as it stands. Yuri Kazdorp is now leading as well in the GT3 Sim Masters class. So 2 of our 3 classes, we've got the race leader looking set to win the championship, but it's Juan Pablo Montoya in 5th place in the LMP2s that looks set to win the Legends Trophy overall, with Barrichello there in leading the race at the moment in the top right.
Montoya is catching again Andy Prio, so he might yet have another scrap to do before this is out. Still 11 minutes left on the clock, and we're watching Erhan Yayovsky, who's now ahead of Peo Pev in their battle. That's for 3rd place in the Sim Masters in the GT3s. They're not all that far away from that lime green car of Yuri Kazdorp in the overall lead in that as well. So a couple of LMP3 cars in the way for them. A lot of traffic to deal with, but Yayovsky still going strong and now ahead of Peo Pev.
There is Yayovsky with the red Corvette of Pev right behind. Tom Coronel is going to try and come past them down the straight, which he manages to do. They're going to get a bit close into the braking zone though, and you can see there that Yayovsky getting a bit held up by Coronel initially. Then Petter Solberg is going to be the black LMP2 car that's going to try and get past the GTs, and once they get out onto the straight, that should be fairly straightforward. And I guess that's the sort of big, there are good times to, and very straightforward times to catch cars around Le Mans, aren't there? It's not like we're doing this at Monaco. That would be chaos.
Can you imagine? 24-hour race around Monaco would be balmy. The Le Mans, I mean, what a legendary circuit this is. Full of fast corners, lovely sweeps like here at the Porsche curves. But also there are times where, like the Mulsanne straight, where it's easy to pass cars, particularly if you're in one of the LMP2 cars in the Legends. There's enough long straights that you can make your way through.
I'll even add to that if you catch them on the straightaway, it can be an advantage because you can get a draft from them on the way by.
Indeed. Talking of the way by, Montoya's passed Prio for 4th place. So that's just happened. Didn't see it, but that's a move that Montoya's made, getting closer to the podium, but more crucially, a clean pass on Andy Prio.
Yeah, that secures his grasp a little tighter on the Legends Trophy crown. 9 minutes left on the clock, and Erhan Yayovsky is just ahead of this man Peo Pev in the bottom left, who has been a front runner for most of the Race All-Star series. Peo Pev was in the very first Race All-Star battle, as it was known then, right at the middle of March, and Pev not really anywhere in Monaco, a 27th and a 12th, but a 6th and a 9th at Indianapolis, and looks as though he's going to finish this with a top 5 finish in the GT3s. Here's David Brabham then. He's in 9th place at the moment, and he's going to try and get past Petter Solberg here, and should do fairly straightforwardly. Then he'll turn his attention to Tom Coronel, and that could put him up into 7th place. So he's not totally out of the running here, Brabham. Is he, Matt?
Just doing the updated math quick.
Oh, sorry, I'll say a few more words. Let's go to Matt now with the update.
So I think if Montoya finishes where he is, he finishes on 248 points. That would put him where Brabham was in 9th. He would have been at 236. But those 2 positions gain him a further 8 points. So that actually means that he would be 4 points back of Montoya on 244 at this point. So Montoya still has it, but watch out, because if Brabham gets a few more, or if Montoya's tires are going, that could change.
Yeah, if we get the position where Brabham gets up to 7th and Montoya drops behind Prio to 5th, then I think things will change quite considerably. Less than 8 minutes to go.
Just to consider that as well, remember there's a pending penalty to Alonso, which could have changed points from the sprint races. And if you consider that Montoya was angry and had to go into pits at the end of that race, maybe that's 3 or 4 points that he lost that he could have used right now.
Yeah, I think that's a very true mistake from Petter Solberg on the exit of Mulsanne as they were trying to get past one of the LMP3 cars. And is that going to allow Brabham up and through? We're on board here now with Brabham. Petter Solberg to the left of him. Coronel seems quite a way up the road, I have to say. I can't see him with my eyes. at the moment. So even if Brabham got ahead of Solberg, it would be quite a way, I think, to catch up with Tom Coronel, and he's not able to get... Oh, now he's got the cutback. Nicely done there from Brabham, and Solberg drops down into 9th place. So next target for Brabham is Tom Coronel in 7th position.
That was a move of a Le Mans veteran, that was, against a Le Mans rookie with Petter Solberg. He's having another good day, racing with these guys who know this place like the back of their hand. But yeah, Brabham just hugging the inside there, setting up Indianapolis, knowing full well that Solberg was probably going to sell himself too deep in and not be able to exit. That's exactly what happened. So another place for David Brabham. And for him, it's just whether Montoya makes a mistake, gets involved in a tangle with Prio, who's still not that far ahead of him, or with any of these other back markers who they're going to have to deal with as well. Mike
Epps leading the way in the GT3 class. He's got Yuri Kasdorp in behind him. There you can see Epps working pretty hard at the wheel, isn't he? In that machine out in front. Kasdorp in 2nd position.
You're spot on about giving Epps credit as well for his improvement, but just to note one more battle very quickly. Canapino versus Rowland. Winner of the race essentially takes it. Whoever beats the other essentially walks away as the champion. That gap's not really come down since Canapino got into 2nd place, so with 6 minutes left, at this point, all Rowland has to do, and we talked about his consistency, is hang on.
Oh, someone's in the gravel there further back, and that caught out Yayovsky, and that means Peo Pev is through. It was Gabi Chavez who was getting in the way of all these GT3 cars, and that means that Pev has managed to get back in front of Yayovsky, but it is still Mike Epps, the Zancho Simsport racer, who is out in front. Yayovsky in 4th now, behind Pev in 3rd. 5th is David Marocek. Jordan Wisniewski, race 1 winner, only down in 7th place, hasn't made a huge amount of progress. Risto Capit, Nuno Pinto and Jan van der Heide complete the top 10. This is what happened here to Pev with Gabi Chavez in front.
Chavez 2 cars ahead, and it was 2 of them that went off. Well, it was Chavez and then Yayovsky followed him basically, and Pev just cruised straight through. It's just the benefit of being quick through the traffic. That's Canapino closing up on Rowland, I think.
I thought it was Rowland and Canapino right together, but it's actually Rowland and Barrichello right together, isn't it? So Oliver Rowland, I presume Barrichello's just lapped him, hasn't he? Yeah. Right. So there we go. A bit less exciting. The gap has come down a little bit to 2.4 seconds between Rowland and Canapino, but still Rubens Barrichello comfortably out in front. Rowland looking fairly comfortable, you have to say, in the Pro Cup. 4 minutes left on the clock, so I think Barrichello might be 2 more laps. You're right. Possibly. It's going to be a tight one.
Yeah, it depends how quickly Barrichello is going to get through, but then of course a lap less for everyone else who's been lapped. But Barrichello he's been on it, hasn't he? From the word go. It's a shame we didn't see him properly in their heat. What he could have done against Fernando Alonso, because he's just been so steady out front, built up a big lead, plus 10 seconds to Chandok, and he's just been solid, no mistakes, clean through the traffic. He's been very, very impressive. It's a shame for him that we don't have Alonso to compare him against in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be the final lap, that he's about to start, Rubens Barrichello. He's coming through the chicanes. We'll wait for confirmation on it. I
think you're right. This is
Brabham's just got to 7th place. Brabham's just gone up 4 more points, so that brings the gap from 248 for Montoya to 244 for Brabham. So if anything happens potentially on this last lap, or if there's one more,
and there's only half a second between Prio and Montoya. There's only half a second between Prio and Montoya. So if Prio gets ahead of Montoya,
they tie. And I think Brabham wins it on countback, because Brabham actually won a race this season. Montoya hasn't. He's been second most of the time.
Yeah. So we have got Rubens Barrichello out in front. This is what happened to Tom Coronel, and he's made the mistake. Coronel has made a mistake, and that's why Brabham has gained the positions. So this is going to be intense now, and Montoya is right behind Servia. So the situation is this: if Montoya goes behind Prio, then we think Brabham will win the title, having won at Indianapolis last time out. Wow.
And I will say, pending the penalties that could still be applied, but right now that's how the points would work.
So Rubens Barrichello is leading the race. We think this is the final lap. Servia is making his way through the back markers. It is the final lap of the race then, and this is going to be so intense. And Montoya's into the back. Montoya spins and he's collected by Prio, but crucially stays in front of Andy Prio as they come down the Mulsanne again. Goodness me, this is going to be stressful.
He got so close to Oriol Servia, didn't he? And then just a little bit of contact, a spin. Crucially for him, I don't know if he knows how crucial that was, but he kept Prio behind. There's just half a lap left. Prio in the big slipstream. Is he going to have a lunge down at the second chicane? No, but he'll have another chance at the hairpin coming up right now. And Montoya has lost the slipstream of Oriol Servia.
So this was the replay on board with Prio. Montoya just tapped the back of Servia. Big slide, and Prio just couldn't find the way through. And that was the moment for Brabham to win the championship. But it's not all over yet. They're away from Servia, but they've got a LMP3 car in there. Just trying to see who that is. Montoya's getting held up a little bit. Andy Prio is right behind him now as they pull out, coming down the next straight towards Indianapolis and then Arnage. Rubens Barrichello is leading the way. A dominating drive from the Brazilian, but who is going to become the Legends Trophy winner? 35 minutes to go. Prio has a look. They make contact. Prio gets through somehow. They're going past Oliver Rowland, the race leader, and then Prio lunges it, coming down into the left-hander at Indianapolis, and Prio is up into 4th place. Montoya drops to 5th, and with Brabham in 7th. Oh no, he's hit him. Montoya and Prio both slide off the circuit, and Montoya's back up into 4th and in championship winning position. That is going to be a controversial one, Jolien.
Yeah, dare I say it, but I'd be amazed if he keeps that one. The one down to Indianapolis was bad enough, putting Prio wide on the grass, but then that was a pretty much just sent Prio down at Arnage, tapping the back, and off Prio went to the barriers. I think that might be David Brabham's championship.
But here comes Rubens Barrichello to win the Legends Trophy race, the endurance race at Le Mans in the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones. The season finale wrapped up with a win for Barrichello, but it's going to be Juan Pablo Montoya across the line, who, as it stands, will win the championship in the Legends Trophy. Will that result stand? We'll have to wait and see, because there was some controversy on the final lap. But Montoya in 4th has had a good season, and you can see he is not celebrating. Rowland across the line to win the Pro Cup and to win the overall Pro Cup standings, almost getting the Triple Crown as well. And here's Yuri Kastorp. He's going to win the Sim Masters, but is he going to win the race? Because Mike Epps has just slipstreamed past him on the final lap. Kastorp trying to find a way through into the Mulsanne kink and then onto the, apologies, that was coming into Indianapolis. Epps might win this one, you know.
There's not an obvious overtaking place left for Kastorp unless he Montoya's it here, which he doesn't, very close to the back of Mike Epps, but without sending him into the wall. Now a bit of a run up to the Porsche curves. Epps just gently swaying to try and break the toe for Kastorp, and this is it. 45 minutes coming down to the last few corners. We're going to go side by side.
Epps keeps to the right. Kastorp to the outside. Epps holds the inside. Kastorp can't hold it. Epps is still in front for Zansho Simsport. A few more corners to go. Still lying in 3rd place is Erhan Yayovsky, but he's 1.4 seconds back. Whatever happens, Kastorp is going to win the Sim Masters element of the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones. But Mike Epps, in what has been a phenomenal drive from this real-world racing driver, up against some of the fastest sim racers. No, he's up against the fastest sim racers in the whole of the world, and Epps comes out of the final corner to win at Le Mans.
Oh, he's pumped.
What a surprising, impressive, superb drive from Mike Epps to win in the GT3 Sim Masters element of the race. Now, here's a look at the replay on board with Prio. What do we make of this, Jolien?
Right, well, that was bad from Montoya in the first place. I think he might have been trying to get the slipstream from the LMP3 ahead.
It was Rowland, yeah.
Yeah, Rowland, and maybe didn't realise Prio was there, but he would have known Prio was here. And let's see this one. Bam. Oh, and off goes Andy. Wide through the gravel. Just about keeps it out of the wall. But that's a slam dunk penalty. I'm sorry. I think Montoya knew what was at stake with that. It felt like he did, the way he was driving. And it's just not up for debate, I don't think, that one.
Well, Rubens Barrichello takes the win. Montoya finishes 4th, but he's going to be under investigation. It could be Brabham that wins the title. Karun Chandok finishing in 2nd. Very good drive from him. Oriol Servia in 3rd spot. Yuri Kastorp, the winner in the Sim Masters, and Oliver Rowland, the winner in the Pro Cup. We'll have all the reaction when we come back in a few minutes to what was a really cool way to end the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. A nice endurance event around Le Mans. We'll be back in a few minutes. Oliver, congratulations, the Pro Cup champion of the Race All-Star Series. Was that a calm race for you, or was it a bit stressful with Canapino closing in?
It was stressful from the beginning. You know, with the LMP2 cars, how they set off, the LMP3 cars could actually get off the grid much quicker. So there was like a bit of chaos into turn 1 with everybody going everywhere. But then, yeah, I slowly got into a rhythm and I had to pass Smith. To be honest, at one point I was happy to just go with him. But in the end, he started to make a few too many mistakes. I thought I need to go now just to not risk getting caught behind. And then, yeah, I had a 3.5 second gap. And he was coming pretty quickly, and then we obviously were getting lapped by the P2 cars. So then I lost a bit of time, and then I started to get a bit stressed towards the end. But yeah, in the end, I didn't know it was the last lap, so I was just hoping there wasn't another one, to be honest.
Yeah, you almost got wiped out by Montoya and Prio at one point. They seemed to come like either side of you.
Yeah, they were having a bit of fun. To be honest, I had no idea who it was, and then they took each other out, and I was just thinking, stay away from me. But yeah, in the end, got away with it.
Okay, well, congratulations. Is that the end of your sim racing adventure, do you think? Because you got into it quite a lot over the last few weeks, but focus now on Formula E, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously, you know, the next month or so is going to be important because we've got 6 races in 9 days. So I think the next month I'll be focusing on that, and then quite a big break. So hopefully I can get back into some stuff. But yeah, full focus on Berlin, and hopefully we can continue the trend there.
Near you now. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the win. A dominant drive.
Hey, thank you. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, you're all good.
Oh, fantastic. It was I had a great time. I learned how to actually do the start with the sprint race. So I was able to get a really good getaway on the second one. On the first one was just madness. It was just crashing all everywhere. But the second, you know, I had a lot of practice on this track. I was saying on my stream that prior to the race, to the 24-hour, I had to improve myself, and I put up a lot of tests. And so therefore, you know, the car was feeling good, and I was feeling good with the sim. I drove my stock car 2 days ago, so I'm up to it. So I'm doing okay now. So all good.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for joining us. A really impressive drive. Were you hoping for a bit more of a fight? Maybe it was a shame Fernando wasn't around to give you a challenge.
Yeah, well, Fernando, Andy, even Juan Pablo, I think they had good times. I mean, when I post my 24.9 in qualify, I could see that I had a little bit of margin because I was safe in quali in the way that I didn't have any cuts. I'm sure if we all go now to a racetrack that is not Le Mans, because Le Mans is very specific, I'm sure the pack will be a lot closer. But having said that, great. I mean, I won my very first one with a Brabham car so this is the second win, the second race with you guys, and you know, it's great. I just feeling good.
I bet. Great. Well, it's been brilliant having you with us. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too, guys. Thank you so much.
See you later. Unbelievable, really. I mean, winning Jolyon Palmer's driver of the day, things don't get much bigger than that, do they?
I guess they don't. Can you hear me as well? All working?
Yeah.
We have to do these things now, don't we?
Yeah. Tell us about your race, because you didn't qualify super well.
No, I've really struggled with this car. The GT3 car on R Factor 2 is quite a wishy-washy, quite slippy, slidey kind of car to drive, and I I've been in another race today on a different sim platform as well. So I'm doing what some of those guys previously were doing when they were doing that with Formula E and all that. And yeah, didn't really have enough laps, so I didn't qualify that well. But thanks to all of the carnage at the start, I think I wound up in third or something after starting 16th or something like that. And I thought, flipping heck, we could win this now. Who knows? And then some of my fellow pros in the P3 cars kept overtaking me and then going off, and then overtaking me and then going off. And they gave me a really good slipstream to hold out a good lead for about half of the race. So there was absolute carnage, but it was a really good race. I was laughing, sweating, everything. It was literally a full-on proper sim race, that.
Yeah, and cheering across the line as well. It's been great having you in the Sim Masters. Really cool seeing you get up to speed with the fastest gamers in the world. What's next for you in real life? Have you got a program for this year?
I didn't have a program for this year, so the last couple of years have been very difficult with the usual sort of. I guess the economy in England's not the easiest thing at the moment to work with when you're trying to get sponsorship in real motorsport, and budgets are not getting any smaller either to race. So a lot of us have fallen off the grid slightly, and I guess this has kind of aided me to buy a sim slightly earlier than everyone else before the sudden sim boom where everyone was buying them just in the start of lockdown. And I really got stuck in and did a load of sim racing, and yeah, as you can see, it's paid off really well. So I will be getting in a couple of cars this year, hopefully, but it will mainly be club racing stuff or clients' cars that I coach, as that's mainly what I do for a living at the moment, is driver coaching. So.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on your win at Le Mans.
Cheers, Jack. We'll have to do some touring car racing sometime. I heard you talking about that earlier. So I'll come and bully you on the virtual track sometime soon, mate.
Great. Look forward to it. Bye. Congratulations, Sim Masters champion. That was a good race for you, but none of the other sort of title contenders were really there in the fight with you at the end.
Yeah, the second race was quite a mess because of the start. And I had no idea where I was. I got hit. I tried to go on the inside on the gravel and I got hit. And then someone bumped me straight again and I had no idea where I was. So at first it was really, really scary because I knew I was going into it with maybe like 10 points lead. But halfway down the first lap, we figured out that I was looking pretty good for the championship and I just took it easy. And in the race, I worked together with a couple of guys and somehow managed to almost win it, just trying to keep it easy.
Yeah. What does this mean to you, winning this championship? What other sort of big series like this have you won?
It's been a while since I won like a big league. It's been races here and there, but overall I've always had some bad runs in the championship. Maybe now with a shorter championship like here, it didn't really happen. All weekends were pretty good, especially this one, and I'm really happy with it.
Great. Congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
What a busy race that was. You finished the season at the top of the championship standings, but it was very busy in the last lap with Andy Prio.
Well, yeah, it was tough. It was always every time with Andy from lap one. I think he cut turn one. I did a really good start, and I was coming out right behind Rubens, and I got side blasted by him. And I said, okay, I lost like 5 places. It's normal, it's Legends race, always happens. And, he caught me. I made a couple mistakes. I let him go. And then we raced really hard again. And then with 2 laps to go, I caught Servia again. And he ran into from behind and spun me. But in the same time, he spun himself. So we ended up like 5 seconds behind Servia again. And I was just returning the favor.
Okay. Well, have you enjoyed the championship as a whole? It's been great watching you race and doing the Triple Crown and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like for this race, because we run Le Mans, I really did maybe 4 laps of practice this week. I did 1 yesterday, and I did about 2 or 3 today, and that was it. I didn't do any laps because we had run Le Mans a week or 2 ago, and that was enough laps. So no, but it was okay. It's tough because I was trying to be careful, and I got to Servia. I got next to him, and he turned into me and spun me. And instead of like trying to take him out and wiping both of us out, I was trying to be smart, and I had enough. I had enough pace easily to be P2. Rubens, I think, was a little quicker, and even when we run Le Mans, he was quicker. So it's what it is. It was okay. I mean, it's a bit of a crazy day. As well, you know, you look at the first race as well. You know, I mean, I'm running P4, and they said you could get 2 penalties, and I got 2 penalties, and they gave me a drive-through. I'm like, why? You said we could get 2, and looks like a lot of people did as well. So I think the results from race 1 are a little off as well from what it's meant to be, from what what they told me. So we'll see. I mean, it's what it is. This is supposed to be a fun race, so we need to make sure we keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Juan Pablo. It's been great fun watching you drive for the last 10 weeks or whatever. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, thank you.
See you later.